Alright. I'm Zeus now. These. Wait, there's nothing here. 2 saucers. Which saucer is it? If you know this, you know how stupid it is. Monoprice. They like spending money on their shipping costs versus the headphone itself. The box will be this big just to hold this stupid saucer. I think I finally figured it out. Why they cost so much MSRP versus the used market. Same with the M1570. It's ridiculous. So in this box is my 10th, 20th mistake in this audio hobby, being an audiophile and all. Yeah, we're all there. We've been there, we've done that, but there's always something next. So inside this giant saucer of a case is a giant heavy planar headphone. Might be asking yourself, oh, what are these? The Odyssey Modius? Magnus? Something along those lines? Nope. It's the Monoprice M1570. And as you can see, well, let me just conclude the video right here and just say these things are a total flop. Get it? Because they're a flop. Yeah. Stupid. You know, Monoprice had one job. They could have made these one of the best competitors to Odyssey if they just gave this much more effort. Honestly. These things are good. But it's everything else that makes them terrible. Like I just showed you. That's just how much one of these weighs. This thing weighs like 600, 700 grams. That's heavier than a freaking T60 Elex. What, M1060? What else do you want me to say? It's heavier than the biggest phone you can put in your pocket. I don't know. Heavier than this plant. Maybe not. Close though. But I want to say a few things before I get into this little mini review, first impressions type thing. So I got these a while back, multiple months ago, and I bought them used. The guy was like, oh, $350 with the balance cable right here. I was like, no. He's like, I bought them for $600. I'm like, I don't really care. How about $320? He's like, okay, deal. So offered too much since he jumped on that offer right away. So I got these sent, and they I forgot about these. They came like this, and I don't know if you know anything about the 1570, but they come with these little fleece blanket pads, I'd like to say. I mean, they're nice and soft, and I'm sure they're freaking super pleasurable in your ears. Like, oh, yeah. But these originally come with these lambskin pads right here. They're super lightweight. Everything on here is super lightweight and really crappy. Pads are lightweight and crappy. The headband's lightweight and crappy-ish. I mean, how lightweight can you get when you steal a headband from Focal? Like, let me show you. Just plug this really quick. Yep. That looks right. Same headband. Except the Elex does it right. Let's put this over here. So we're here. 1570. When I first bought them, I was like, okay, cool. I put them on my head, and it's like, oh man, you know, you could just feel the drivers. You turn your head, and it's like wham, wham. I'm giving you guys motion sickness up in here. These things are heavy, like I said earlier. So my first thought was, oh, replace this stupid headband. They get the one finger, bend the metal in just to freaking fit your head, and then you readjust it on your head after you bend them in, and they just bend right back. It's like, what the heck is the point of the headband if it just freaking bends on its own? Not to mention, the whole headband's retarded because this is the resting point after it's all freaking messed up from me bending it. This is the resting point. There's no clamp here, so these things just flop around like freaking deer ears. So I went to Odyssey, or a little supplier that buys from Odyssey, and ordered a used headband. I bought a used headband that these guys didn't even have, so they're like, oh, we're gonna order them from Odyssey. And then 1 month goes by, and I emailed them. I'm like, what's going on? And they're like, oh, Odyssey's running behind on orders. 2 months, 3 months, 4 months now. Keep in mind, I had this thing torn apart since the day I got it, which was whenever I ordered the parts 4 months ago, like I said. So I email Odyssey themselves. I'm like, hey, what's going on? And they're like, oh. Well, first I was like, hey, can I order a yoke kit and a headband? They're like, yeah, it'll be $40. I'm like, well, you're saying it costs this much, but how much, how long is it going to take before I can actually get it here in my house to modify these headphones? And they're like, well, we only offer warranty replacement parts that you have to pay for people that already own Odyssey headphones. So I'm like, oh great, it's the whole M1060 pad thing again, where you have to give the number of the headphone and basically have to whatever overpay, all that stuff. So at this point, as of yesterday, I was like, screw that. I'm putting these back together and listening to them because I haven't listened to them, and I bought a whole bunch of ZMF pads to try these with, but I'm not getting the Odyssey headband, so I'm like, what's the point? So basically, I just want to sell these at this point and move on in the hobby and do a little mini review of this. So if you've heard and modified the M1060 or the M1060C, I haven't tried the M1060, but I have the M1060 right back there ready to be modified, with new parts coming in tomorrow. Thank you, best friend. One of two only friends of mine. Anyway, so these things are good and bad. A whole lot of bad for a little bit of good is the way I think of it. First impressions, listening to them for a few hours, is just, they're pleasant. You know, they have a lot of macro detail. I remember the Sennheiser 6XX used to do this thing with dubstep where it'd be like, I forget what they called it, where they're really fast. The driver's really fast and impact speed. So these have that of the 6XX with dubstep and stuff where it's like really fast on the electronic sounds. I can't really explain it that well, but it's just what I remember from the 6XX. The treble range is that of like the T90, where it's like it's like the T90 but not as harsh. I have a little frequency response right here pulled up. So listening to the headphones, they definitely have sub bass, and the mid bass or mid range, it's pretty decent. I feel like well, it's right here. It rolls into the sub bass. The mid bass rolls into the sub bass, so it kind of melds right there. You can definitely hear that in the headphone. But when you come here into the treble range, it's like the high mids and the treble. You definitely hear that peak right there when you turn up the volume. And that becomes super sibilant. These two. The mids are good, like vocals, female vocals are really good until you start pushing the headphones, and that's when they become super sibilant. I'm not the best at reading the frequency response anyway, so it's just what I hear. Don't take my word for it, because I don't know what I'm talking about. But you can definitely hear those peaks and valleys, definitely when you turn up the volume. Like at low volume, this headphone's great. It's nice and smooth. It sounds like you're being wrapped in a fleece blanket on a cold night. It's snowing outside, your windows are open. You can see the snow. And you have the fire going right there. You have the embers. It's kind of like that. You can just, it's soft. It doesn't hurt at low volume until you get loud with it, and then it starts hurting. You get details and like imaging like the T90, but you don't get as big of a soundstage as like a good modified 1060 and imaging, where it'll move up and down like a dynamic driver. You can hear the imaging go left and right very quickly, and on the 1060s you can hear it moving up and down slightly, because what I'm assuming is the driver's just scale. You have such a big driver with your ear right here that things at a certain frequency range can move up and down, and will give you the illusion of movement. These, which are phasered, they have phasers on the front and back. I can actually. So these have phasers on the front and the back of the driver. I obviously don't have them torn apart right now, but they do have a set of phasers on the rear side of the driver, which is what I'm trying to do to my 1060s, put phasers and grill mod and all that on the 1060s. But for these, I kind of wanted these to be the, you know, the end game headphones for me. But that didn't work out because I didn't get the headband in time before moving on. So here I am talking about these. You know, these things sound pleasant. They're different, which is definitely something you want to look for in the community. Some gripes about it are the freaking weight. You know, like I said, 600, 700 grams, which is very, very heavy. Examples is Sennheiser is like 300 grams, so, you know, 2 Sennheisers on your head, and then freaking half of that's just on one freaking little orbital planet, moon on one side, moon on the other, and you're the freaking Earth, basically, because Earth has 2 moons. Yes, very smart. So I got it with the freaking, on a little side tangent real quick, the wires. Mine came with the balanced, and you're all, oh cool, mini XLR connections. Yeah, not cool. Monolith was like, hey, let's wire these backwards. So I was like, okay, cool, I'll buy them, open them up, and change the wiring, change the headband, and they'll be mine, right? Long-term, good headphones to keep. They'll be lighter and modded to the way I like them. Well, I don't know if it's the previous owner, but they went in here with like black glue and glued like all the threads, the wires inside. They like resoldered them and then glued them down with this black hard glue, which doesn't even make sense to me because I can't even get in there to rewire them. So it's like, whatever. That was the first thing that happened. It's a whole lot of negative to a little bit of good. There's good sound that comes out of this until you raise that volume. But other than that, it's just freaking, I don't know. I'd warn you to stay away from these, if I'm being honest. But if you can make them work with the different headband You could rearrange the wiring to more average wiring, or just deal with the 2 wires. It's fine. I don't know if you've heard, but they cause overcurrent protection on some amps. I haven't had that problem on either cables, so that's good. Little cables have red and black. Red for right. The little phasers right here. This is something really cool. I haven't seen it before, but in order to put the pad back on, it has this little notch right here. You stick the lip of the pad in there, between that little notch, and then all you gotta do is turn the pad just like this. You just rotate it, and this is really cool. I haven't seen this before. Like I said, you just keep turning it, turn, and then it's on. That's it. It's so easy compared to like Dynamic or Dynamic again, the T60s, where you have to force it all the way around, get your finger in there and start fingering around till you get it on that lip. You just put these on, twist them. It's very smart on Monoprice if they came up with it. I doubt it, but if they did, it's really neat. The carrying case, real quick. This thing's so cool. Check this out. You put your wires away, zip this bad boy up, and you have the handle up here. Everything you had in this little pocket faces downward. It's like, what's the point? And this thing's so giant anyways, I don't know who would take that on a plane. The cables are thick. They're kind of like Periot, what I'd imagine Periot is like. I don't like the thick Black Mamba cable. Too dummy thick for me. I like hard audio. They're good. Thin wires. This is thick. I mean, it's nice. I can get why it's nice, but when combined to a 700 bomb, nuclear bomb of a headphone, it doesn't help. And the little Y split right here is very short. You can choke yourself out with it. These little fleece pads are probably like a cent for both. 1 penny. I don't know how to replace the pads. I don't know how you buy replacement pads anyway. I put these on my T60s and whatever. I'm getting on a little side tangent. That's the conclusion of the little introduction of the 1570s. I'm sure I'll come up with the final thoughts. That's reassuring. Totally. Final thoughts video after this, but that's generally it. I'm trying to sell the T90s right now, and I'm gonna be selling these, even though they're kind of nice looking, but everything else is bad. Well, and the sound's pretty good too, but alright, peace out guys. Don't forget to subscribe. Gotta make the AdSense qualification so I can start making money, you know, all this hard work. Alright guys, peace out. Thanks for watching. See you next time.